Here's something most gardeners get completely wrong about November. They think the growing season is over. But what if I told you that right now, in the coldest stretch of autumn, you could be planting seeds that will give you the earliest harvests next year, save you serious money, and actually taste better than anything you'd grow in spring? There's a reason old-time gardeners called November the secret sowing month. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why they guarded this knowledge so carefully. Welcome to Earthly Gardening, where we prove that incredible harvests don't require incredible budgets. If you're new here, you've just walked into a community of gardeners who believe that growing your own food should be simple, affordable, and honestly, way more fun than it's made out to be. And to my returning viewers, welcome back. You know the drill, we're about to dive into something practical, something you can actually use, and something that'll make your neighbors wonder how you're pulling off what you're pulling off. Before we get into these game-changing November seeds, do me a quick favor. If you genuinely want to see your garden thrive without spending a fortune, hit that subscribe button right now. It's free, it takes half a second, and it means you'll never miss these budget-friendly growing secrets. Seriously, some of what I share here won't show up anywhere else because we're focused on real results, not just pretty pictures. Now, let's talk about what you should be sowing right now. So let's address the elephant in the garden shed. Why would anyone in their right mind sow seeds when frost is literally knocking on the door? Because nature has a loophole that most modern gardeners have completely forgotten about. Certain seeds actually need cold. They need winter. They're hardwired through thousands of years of evolution to germinate when temperatures drop. And if you work with this natural rhythm instead of against it, you'll have crops ready to harvest while everyone else is just starting to think about planting. This isn't some complicated technique. It's actually easier than spring planting because you're letting nature do the heavy lifting. Seed 1, garlic. Let's kick things off with the absolute champion of November sowing, garlic. Now I know what you're thinking. I've seen garlic in every gardening video ever made. But here's what nobody tells you about November planted garlic. When you plant garlic cloves right now, they undergo something called vernalization. Basically, the cold period tricks the clove into thinking it survived winter, which triggers it to form much larger bulbs come summer. Spring-planted garlic? It'll grow, sure, but the bulbs will be puny because the plant didn't get that cold signal it desperately needs. Here's the money-saving angle that'll blow your mind. A single bulb of organic garlic from the grocery store costs, what, $2 to $3? Sometimes more. You can break that bulb into individual cloves and plant maybe 8 to 10 cloves. Each clove becomes a full bulb. So your $3 investment just became $24 worth of garlic minimum. And we're not talking about the same quality. Homegrown garlic has this intense, complex flavor that makes store-bought stuff taste like watery disappointment. The technique is stupid simple. Break your bulb into cloves, keep the papery skin on, plant them pointy end up about 2 inches deep and 6 inches apart. If your soil is heavy clay, mix in some sand or compost. If it's sandy, add compost. Either way, garlic is forgiving. Water them in, cover with a thin layer of mulch, and then literally forget about them until spring. They'll do their thing underground while you're inside drinking hot chocolate. Seed 2, broad beans. Next up, we've got broad beans, and this is where things get interesting for anyone trying to garden on a budget. Broad beans are absolute tanks. They laugh at frost. In fact, they prefer cold weather germination because it means fewer pests and diseases to deal with. But here's the unconventional wisdom. November-sown broad beans will flower and set pods a full month before spring-sown beans. That means you're harvesting fresh beans in late April or early May when beans at the market are still expensive imports. The financial logic is beautiful. A packet of broad bean seeds costs maybe $3 to $4 and contains anywhere from 15 to 30 seeds. Each plant produces around 1 to 2 pounds of beans. Do the math. You're looking at potentially 30 to 60 pounds of fresh beans from a single packet of seeds. Fresh broad beans at the store or farmer's market. At least $6 to $8 per pound. And that's if you can even find them. Here's how you plant them. Push each bean about 2 inches into the soil. Space them roughly 8 inches apart in a double row pattern. This gives them support as they grow and maximizes your space. If you're worried about really harsh cold in your area, you can start them in deep pots or modules now and transplant them in early spring. Either way works. Water them in well, and if you've got problems with mice digging them up, cover the area with chicken wire until they sprout. Mice love beans, but they hate working for their food. Seed 3. Winter lettuce varieties. Now let's talk about something that sounds completely backwards. Sowing lettuce in November. Most people think lettuce is a delicate spring crop that needs warmth and sunshine. Wrong. Winter lettuce varieties are a completely different beast, and they're about to change how you think about salads. Varieties like Winter Density, Arctic King, and Valder can handle serious cold. We're talking temperatures down to the low 20s Fahrenheit with minimal protection. The magic happens because these lettuces grow slowly through winter, developing this incredible sweetness and crisp texture you simply cannot get from summer lettuce. Summer lettuce grows fast in heat and turns bitter. Winter lettuce takes its time and rewards you with flavor. The budget angle here is massive. A bag of pre-washed salad greens costs what? $4 to $5 and lasts maybe 3 days? A packet of winter lettuce seeds is $3 and contains hundreds of seeds. You could have fresh salad greens from December straight through to April with successive sowings. That's potentially saving you $60 to $80 over the winter months just on salad greens. Sowing technique is straightforward. Broadcast the seeds thinly over prepared soil, or sow them in shallow drills about ½ an inch deep and 8 inches apart. Press them in lightly, water gently, and here's the key. Thin them as they grow. Don't be afraid to eat the thinnings. Baby lettuce leaves are actually more valuable than mature heads in fancy restaurants. If you want to give them extra protection, throw a cloche or some floating row cover over them. That'll push your harvest even earlier and protect against the absolute worst weather. Quick pause here because I want to know something. How many of you are actually going to try November sowing this year? Drop a comment below and let me know which seed you're most excited about. And if you're finding this information useful, if it's genuinely making you rethink your gardening calendar, smash that like button. It helps more gardeners discover these budget-friendly techniques, and honestly, the algorithm loves it when you do. Alright, let's keep moving. Seed for onion sets. Onion sets in November might sound weird, but this is an old-school technique that's making a serious comeback. When you plant onion sets, those are just baby onions. Right now in November, they establish roots through winter and explode with growth the moment spring arrives. This gives you full-sized onions by June or early July, which is months ahead of spring-planted sets. The economics are beautiful. A net of onion sets costs around $5 to $7 and contains maybe 50 to 80 sets depending on size. Each set becomes one onion. Quality onions at the market run about $1 to $2 per pound, and a good onion weighs around ½ a pound. You're looking at $25 to $40 worth of onions from a $7 investment. Plus, homegrown onions store incredibly well if you cure them properly, meaning you could have onions lasting you through to next spring. Planting method. Push each set into the soil so just the tip is showing above ground. Space them about 4 to 6 inches apart in rows 12 inches apart. The key thing with onion sets is preventing birds from pulling them up. Birds see that little tip poking out and think it's a worm. A few strands of string crisscrossed above the bed usually solves this problem. Water them in, maybe add a light mulch and let them settle in for winter. Seed 5. Hardy peas. Hardy peas are the underdog of November sowing, and they deserve way more attention. We're talking about varieties specifically bred to overwinter like Meteor, Douse Provence, or Kelvedon Wonder. These peas can handle frost, snow, ice, you name it. They sit there through winter barely growing, but they're developing massive root systems underground. Come March, they take off like rockets and give you peas by late April or May. Budget breakdown. Dried peas at the store cost around $3 to $4 per pound for cooking quality. Fresh garden peas? You're looking at $6 to $10 per pound if you can find them fresh, which is rare. A packet of hardy pea seeds runs about $4 and contains enough seeds to produce potentially 10 to 20 pounds of peas depending on your space and care. The return on investment is honestly ridiculous. Planting technique. Create a flat-bottom trench about 2 inches deep and 6 inches wide. Scatter the peas along the bottom, spacing them about 2 to 3 inches apart. Cover with soil, firm it down, water well. If you've got issues with mice or birds, cover with chicken wire or netting until they germinate. These peas will benefit from some support eventually, so plan ahead by setting up a simple trellis or netting structure they can climb when spring arrives. Nothing fancy needed, just something vertical. Seed 6. Spinach. Spinach in November is another one of those crops that performs better in cold than in heat. Summer spinach bolts, it runs to seed the moment temperatures rise, and you get maybe 2 or 3 weeks of harvest if you're lucky. Winter spinach grows slowly and steadily, producing leaves for months without bolting because there's no heat stress triggering that survival response. Money-wise, spinach makes sense. Fresh spinach at the store is around $4 to $6 for a small container that wilts within days. A packet of winter spinach seeds costs $3 and contains hundreds of seeds. You could have continuous spinach harvests from late winter through spring, potentially saving you $50 to $70 over those months if you're a regular spinach buyer. Sowing is easy. Broadcast seeds or sow in rows about ½ an inch deep and 12 inches apart. Space seeds roughly 2 inches apart, though you'll thin them later. Water in well, and here's a pro tip. Spinach germination improves dramatically if you soak the seeds overnight before planting. It softens that hard seed coat and speeds things up. Once they're growing, harvest the outer leaves and let the center keep producing. That's how you get months of harvest from a single sowing. Seed 7. Overwintering carrots. Last but definitely not least, we've got overwintering carrots, and this one requires a slight mindset shift. You're not sowing these expecting them to grow much before winter hits. Instead, you're sowing them now so they germinate, establish a tiny taproot, then sit dormant through winter and start growing the moment soil temperatures rise in late winter. This gives you carrots ready to harvest in April or May instead of July or August. The financial advantage is timing. Early carrots command premium prices at markets because they're rare. Growing your own means you're eating expensive carrots for the cost of a seed packet. We're talking maybe $3 to $4 for a packet containing thousands of seeds versus $3 to $5 per pound for fresh carrots at peak season. Overwintering varieties like Autumn King or Nance types can produce beautifully. Technique. Carrots need fine, loose soil because the roots need to push down easily. Remove any rocks or clumps. Sow seeds thinly in drills about ½ an inch deep and 6 inches apart between rows. Carrot seeds are tiny, so mix them with sand to help spread them evenly. Water gently but thoroughly. The key with November sown carrots is protecting them with fleece or cloches during the absolute coldest spells. They're tough, but a little protection ensures success. Thin them as they grow, and yes, those baby carrots you thin out are delicious. Before we wrap up, let me give you a few general tips that'll make your November sowing way more successful. First, soil preparation matters more in November than any other time. Your soil should be workable, not waterlogged or frozen solid. If it's too wet, wait a few days. If it's starting to freeze, you've missed the window for direct sowing, but you can still start things in pots and transplant later. Second, don't go crazy with watering after sowing. November usually brings enough rain to keep seeds moist. Overwatering in cold weather leads to rot. Water them in after planting, then let nature handle the rest unless you're experiencing an unusually dry spell. Third, labels. Mark what you've planted and where. Trust me on this. Come February, you'll have no idea what's what, and you'll either dig things up by accident or forget they're even there. A simple wooden marker or even a rock with a label written in permanent marker works fine. Fourth, protect your sowings from pests. Mice, birds, and slugs don't hibernate. They're hungry and desperate in November. Use netting, cloches, or copper tape around beds to keep them at bay. So there you have it. 7 crops you absolutely should be sowing in November if you want earlier harvests, better tasting produce, and serious savings on your grocery bills. This isn't complicated. It's not expensive. It's just about working with nature's rhythm instead of fighting against it. The gardeners who figure this out are the ones consistently pulling off impressive results on tiny budgets while everyone else is still flipping through seed catalogs wondering what to plant in spring. If this video gave you even one idea you're going to use, do me a favor and hit that like button. Drop a comment telling me what you're planting this November. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We're building something special here at Earthly Gardening. A community of real gardeners getting real results without spending ridiculous amounts of money. Click that subscribe button, turn on notifications, And I'll see you in the next video where we're diving into how to protect these November sowings through the absolute worst winter weather without buying expensive equipment. This is going to be good. Until then, get out there and get planting.